Have you ever been to the gym before and got intimidated by the big muscle men group just taking up all the racks? It's kind of scary, isn't it? Especially if you never lifted before. But what if I tell you, lifting is actually kind of fun, a great way to stay fit, and you can do it too. Now, there's a lot to learn if you seriously want to get committed to weightlifting, but today we'll be going over some of the basics. I'll be talking about the fundamentals of safety, the terms and equipment, and I'll be demonstrating a lift that's relatively easy to pick up, literally. And I know weightlifting in the past has usually been used to determine strength, but lately it's been making its way into many people's personal gym routines. Now, weightlifting is also a great way to reduce stress, heart complications, depression, and within just 2 weeks of lifting, people have noticed a considerable difference in how much easier it is to do everyday things. So, let's get learning. Before we hit the gym, let's talk safety. I know safety can be kind of a boring topic, but personally, I don't want a lawsuit on my hands, and it's important to know the necessary precautions in order to help prevent minor to serious injuries. So, let's talk about stretching first. According to a report done in 2017 by the National Center for Biotechnology Information, roughly 46% of lifting injuries were due to improper stretching. Now, stretching works a little bit different in lifting than it does in most other sports, in that they actually recommend you to stretch after a lift rather than before. This is because stretching in general elongates and relaxes your muscles, but this can temporarily reduce its ability to produce force. So if you stretch prior to a lift, you are reducing your chances of lifting heavier later on. There's an exception to this rule, and that's if your muscles are tight, then you do want to stretch prior to a lift, so you will have the mobility and flexibility to power through the whole thing. Otherwise, stretching anytime after is a great way to relieve tension within the muscles that were used during the lift. Now, a great warm-up prior to a lift is some light cardio. This can include running, walking, like jogging, anything to build up a light sweat and get your heart rate pumping is a great way to warm up for any type of lift. Now, in an interview with Men's Health this September, Noga Ghaffar, who's a renowned fitness expert and ex-boxer, states it's important for everyone to set realistic expectations and to not give in to the pressure to overexceed your body's limit. Many beginner lifters do feel pressured or feel overconfident in their skills and pick up weights that they are not prepared to lift. You often realize that people in the gym are really not judging you because they're actually paying attention to themselves. It sounds a little bit narcissistic, but it's kind of true. So you really don't have to feel conscious about how much you're lifting. And remember, everyone starts from somewhere. And lastly, if you are a beginner, or actually this applies to anyone at all, try having someone who's experienced with you to help guide and spot you during a lift. It's always helpful to have someone encouraging you and helping you out, so it's always nice to have a gym buddy. Maintaining safety is crucial to keeping yourself safe while in the gym so you can get those gains without the pains. Now that we know the fundamentals of safety, let's take a look at what we'll be using in the gym and get familiar with the common terms. The equipment for basic free weightlifting is pretty easy and simple to remember, so let's get started with the barbell. The barbell is a long metal bar in which plates of varying weights can be added onto both ends. Typically, you'll find the men's barbell, which is 45 pounds, but there's also women's barbells, which are 35, and beginners, which typically range from 11 to 12 pounds. But what's in common with all of these is that they have a knurling. Knurling will be found in every barbell, and it's a crisscross pattern that is meant for your hand grip and hand placement. Next up, we've got the plates. Plates are the additional weights that are meant to go on the ends of the barbells, and most typically in any gym, you'll find 2.5 pounds, 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 15 pounds, 25 pounds, 35 pounds, and 45-pound plates. Next up, we got the rack, and this is commonly utilized when lifting to help place the barbell after a lift. And last up, we got just a terminology thing, and it's called sets and reps. These refer to how many times you'll be doing a lift, where sets refers to the rounds, and reps refer to how many times you do a lift in one set or round. Understanding the equipment and functions is essential to learning any new activity, and will get yourself mentally prepared for learning how to perform the lifts. Due to time complications, I won't be able to show every single lift that there is, but I will be showing a deadlift today. Deadlifts are part of the main three in powerlifting, and it's a great way to focus on multiple muscle groups all at once. As stated by Caitlin Carode, a certified athletic trainer and a competitive lifter for over 15 years, deadlifts are used to help strengthen and gain definition in your upper and lower back, your glutes, and your hamstrings. So let's get started. For this demonstration, I will be using the bar with 35 plates on both sides, but if you're a beginner, especially if it's your first time, I recommend either just using the bar by itself, but in some cases this is also too heavy, so use a PVC pipe or any type of like trainer's bar. But yeah, anyways, you want to step up to the bar, shoulder knees apart, and you want to make sure that your toes are visible when you look down. A great trick that I like to use is that I want to not see my shoelaces, or at least where I tie them. So I want my shoelaces, or where I tie them, to be directly beneath the bar. Next up, we are gonna bend down and we're gonna use an overhand grip. Overhand grip just means both our hands are like this. If you go to the gym, you will notice that some people tend to use a mixed hand grip. Mixed hand grips are fine, but those are usually used when you start going heavy on weight. Otherwise, it's recommended just try using an overhand grip as much as possible. So we're at overhand grip. Now, from here, we want to have our hips lower than our shoulders. If our hips are higher than our shoulders, then we are lifting with our upper or our lower back. Lifting with our lower back is a huge no in deadlifts. This can cause strain. This can also cause something to be dislocated in major cases. But yes, you never want to lift with your back. You always want to lift with your legs. Also, this is the biggest point. Never arc your back. People will start doing this and then start lifting. Never want to do that. You always want to keep your back straight. So like this. After this, you have your hips down. You will have your back straight. You want to bring your shoulders back, breathe in, and brace your core. And now you're going to want to stand up. Stand up tall and clench your glutes. Here you want to exhale, and then now you can slowly bring it back down. Like that. And that's essentially it. That's a deadlift. It's pretty simple. It takes a little bit of time to get used to, but otherwise, it's a relatively easy lift that anyone can do with enough practice. Now remember, if you're a beginner in any lift, make sure you stay with low weights and higher reps, just so you can get accustomed to the movement and form, and then slowly transition to adding heavier weights. And deadlifts were just one of the lifts I was able to demonstrate today, but with the basic safety guidelines and gym terminology I provided before, picking up new lifts will be relatively easier and safer to do. And lifting is just a fun way to stay fit and stay healthy, so I challenge yourself just to do some lightweight lifting just for 2 weeks, and I can guarantee you will notice a considerable change in how much easier it is to do everyday things. Like lugging your laundry 7 floors down will feel like a piece of cake, and our bags that weigh tons of bricks will just weigh like 1 brick. So now I ask you guys to go out there and get those gains, baby. Let's go.